Hey guys, welcome on in. I'm Scumbag Rob, and today I had a brief chat with my clan leaders about the future of Pax Dei as a whole, and whether it's even worth buying. Without further ado, let's have a quick look. So, welcome in guys. We are joined by, we've got Shalimar, Canna, Lord Fortress. I'm going by your names on the game, by the way, or in the Discord, and Jack Wild, right, from my clan that I'm a part of. These are your leaders, right? These are your council members. These guys are going to give us a bit of an insight on how a bit about Pax Dei, about the clan, and everything else that comes with that. Yeah.
I'll clarify just a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm Shalimar. I am the alderman for Luminari in Pax Dei, and those who are with me today, unfortunately, we couldn't have the rest of the council, but we do have some of our officers. And so, would you like me to introduce their roles in the clan?
If you could, yeah, no, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. So we have Jack, who plays. Oh, what is your name? In game?
Hello, Han.
Von
Welcome
Diamond.
in.
Yeah, yes, as Von Damon in game. And Jack is the leader of our mining outpost.
Ah.
We have Kana, who is our spreadsheet guru, and she does an amazing job of keeping us organized. And
I've
we have
seen,
Fortescue,
yeah.
and we have Lord Fortescue, who is our visionary when it comes to city design. So he is our city designer.
He's not had a look at my tavern yet, I'm assuming. Because, yeah, no, to be fair, the tavern's not looking too bad. Hopefully you approve. Although I am missing a roof. That is the issue I do have.
Unfortunately, the others couldn't be with us due to real-life work responsibilities.
Life comes first, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah, that happens. Cool. So, no, thank you obviously very much for the introduction and spending your time with us here on the stream. Obviously, we pitched this out to the rest of the clan. People want to join in, ask their own questions. But I want to make this more like an informal chat, more than like an interview where I'm kind of grilling you. I don't want that. Excuse me. Just kind of want to have like a chat about Pax Dei. So we'll start off with Pax Dei as a whole, right? So it is early access, okay? We have to keep that in mind with a lot of things that we're experiencing in game. So the first question really, I guess, would be with Pax Dei as a whole coming out, early access, $40 as a price tag. How do you guys feel about the $40 price tag attached to an early access game? With obviously it has its limitations. So how do you feel?
So prior to them announcing the price tag, I was doing market research personally. I was pulling comps from Steam for other early access open world games. Most of those are not MMOs.
Right.
But what I found in looking at the prices for the most comparable games on the market that I could find, and these would be things such as Enshrouded,
Yep.
such as Ark, such as let me remember some of the other comps that I pulled. But anyway, I looked at several comps, and the price range that I found for the comps in US dollars was $30 to $45. And my prediction going into EA before they announced the price is that the price tag for PAX is going to fall in this range, and probably toward the higher end of the range, because these other games that I'm comparing to, by and large, are not MMOs. So by their nature, they are smaller games. And Ark was the only one that was close to being an MMO. Yeah. Soul Mask is another one that falls into that same price range.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
And
obviously,
so-
Soul Mask is quite big at the moment.
Yeah, Soul Mask is quite big at the moment. And every game that I thought was comparable fell into that price range. And so my prediction was we're looking at the $30 to $50 price range as the base price for this game.
And it literally fell smack in the bang,
Yes.
like in the middle of that.
Yes, it did. So that's my feeling about price. Is it is within the range for the market for early access open world games.
Cool. And I think that's a very it's a sensible way to think about things, right? For a game that's coming out, for early access games, in that same genre, to have it at the $40 price tag, but does it feel like a $40 game? Is kind of the next question with that, is because obviously we are limited to what we've got, and I guess it is an investment, right? Pax Day is an investment. You are paying now to see what happens later. I mean, how do you feel about that?
So my feeling is that the value I get is out of the enjoyment that I'm getting out of the game and the time that I'm spending in the game. Like, I've already spent more time in PAX than I did in the entire game playing Planet Crafter, for instance.
Sure.
From start to finish. And I think I paid about $25 US for Planet Crafter. And so there is a lot of content there, even though it is very unfinished and the content is still very limited. There is a lot of content there, and I do think that there is enough content to be able to get your money's worth, even if that's all you get.
I couldn't agree more, honestly. I do feel that there is huge potential for the game, and I am enjoying it. I've built the tavern twice. I've done a bit of crafting. I've done a bit of an exploration. No real PvE as such, not yet. But people are enjoying those things, and for the $40 that comes with that, it's kind of like, okay, there is a lot there for your buck. But obviously, you mentioned like Soulmask and Ark. I mean, I've come from Ark to Pax Day. I've been playing Ark for 11 years on and off, and I've played roleplay in Ark. Specifically tavern owners, funny enough. I feel like with obviously Ark is, as you say, is still in its early access stage under Ark Survival Ascended.
Yes.
But in my opinion, obviously, and I would love to hear everyone else's opinion, Ark Ascended feels more polished.
So that is one of the things about PAX, is we are receiving early access at a very early point of development. And this is something that the developers have been very clear about. At the same time, there is a player base that has wanted to support the development, that has been asking for a long time to have the opportunity to financially support the development of this game.
Yep. I agree so much with that. It's a game for the gamers. It's one that people have been watching for a while to see what happens, and I couldn't agree more with that.
Right. People have been wanting to be able to financially support this game. People have been wanting to help this game develop. And so there are people out there that are in that position, myself included. If you are not somebody who likes playing an unpolished game, if you are not somebody who wants to give feedback and help the game develop and give constructive feedback, then I would say don't spend your money.
Yep.
I would say wait until the game's in a more polished state before you buy in. Right now, the people who are buying in should be the people who want to support the development of the game, who want to give feedback to help shape the future development of the game.
Yep. No, I agree. Anyone else want to chip in with anything with that?
I fully agree. Like, when you step into an early access game, the 40 price range might be a little bit steep, but when joining a game and joining a community, you can really see the game grow. And like in the past few days that the game has been out, I think it's been out for a week now, I've already seen lots of changes when it comes to performance and stuff. And when you go to the roadmap, the things that are to be expected are very broad, and they'll definitely add to the game. And the games that you have mentioned before, there has to be a difference between what you're playing when you're playing Pax Day and when you're playing Ark, for example. Is that Pax Day is an MMO in a truest way of the word. Like, you have persistent servers, and when you log out or you log back in, the world can be changed. Which is in Ark, there always needs to be somebody online that hosts the server, for as far as I know. And as of right now, you're paying $40 to an undetermined amount of time. It might be a year, it might be 2 years, or it might be more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it from another different point of view, you have no monthly subscription next to that $40 So
At
if
this
you
stage, I mean,
at this
obviously,
stage,
the subscription is looming over us. They've given us a minimum timeline of a year, right? They've given till June
yeah,
2025.
well, they have to show some effort into it, because if they're gonna bring monthly subscriptions in a phase as the game is currently presented, then I think many people will not, go for the monthly subscription. So it also gives them uh, a certain pressure to continue developing the game, right?
Yep.
So um, that being said, you have to make a fair comparison right now. Like it has been stated that the game might be in alpha for early access for a year, but might be longer. They also mentioned that the development of the game might be postponed or might be prolonged, so to say. So that $40 might, show its value
Yeah.
at the end of the road. So if you go into it now and you join a nice community, you might experience something very nice.
Yeah, no. I'm with you on this. Obviously, I'm pitching the hard questions because I kind of want to get those hard answers out. And there's people that are going to be watching this that, they want to know, essentially, Pax Day, is it worth it, right, at this stage? But one thing I do want to bring up, especially the timing for Pax Day being released now. Now, okay, yeah, it is in early access and it is obviously unpolished and unfinished, right? And we're accepting that because as Shalimar said, we are still getting quite a lot for our buck. There's a lot of game for that. I mean, we've been playing it for a week, right? I don't think anyone has maxed out more than 2 skills, right? Not by a long shot, right? But I think it's the timing. I think the time is right, and I'll tell you for why. Now, I come from Dungeons and Dragons background, role-playing background as a whole. I've always played role-playing games ever since I was a kid. And I think the timing that this game has come out is because of Dungeons and Dragons is bringing out a new module this year, end of this year, so like November, December. They've hit different bits and pieces, so it's ticking those boxes for those role-playing people. It's going to become very, very mainstream media. Dungeons and Dragons has been mainstream for a while now. Things such as Critical Role and Stranger Things have really pushed that into the front of everyone's kind of like face. All these geeks are coming out of their basement all of a sudden. I mean, I say geeks, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
We used to play in secret. Yeah, exactly. And you're now allowed to kind of go, yeah, I played that game. I've been playing that for a while. You've really played that game? Yeah, I played that. Yeah. And I think for the role players, and the fact that Pax Day has a specific role play server, right? There's a specific server on each region that is purely for roleplay. I think that's where the time's coming. Also, it's competitors. So as we said, you've got Ark Ascended, you've got Soul Mask, you've got Thrones and Liberty coming out soon. These are games that that are coming out in the pipeline, and Pax Day, I think it's the right time for them to kind of put their post and go, right, this is ours. I mean, how do you feel about that?
So I think that that's accurate as far as, there's a lot of demand for this kind of game, for an open world and for an MMO, because we haven't really had a new high quality MMO come out in quite a while. And people who played WoW back in the day, we're seeing a lot of EVE players come. People are looking for something, and it seems that PAX is filling what people are looking for, even though it's in an unfinished state. But we're seeing people are wanting to go back to the glory days of the old MMOs, and that seems to be the crowd that seems to be coalescing around PAX.
Right. I mean, you say about the glory days. We are seeing, as you said, World of Warcraft, right? World of Warcraft is still it's up there, right? It's on that pedestal as almost untouchable. There are games that come close. Obviously, we've had like Runecraft. I was saying Runecraft, is that right? RuneScape, thank you. It just completely went from my brain then. So we've got RuneScape, which is like the classic, the browser type of MMORPG in a sense. Final Fantasy 14, with a subscription basis, that's been going for a very long time as well. Obviously, Pax Day is comparable to all these different games, and as you say, there are a lot of people that are coming from these games, like World of Warcraft. My game. I think I've just logged out the game. Oh, I did log out the game. Bear with me, sorry. Sorry about that. Right, sorry. What was I saying? Yes. So as I said, lots of people are coming in to fill those gaps from World of Warcraft. Valheim's had its like time in the sun, in the spotlight as such, and people are starting to come off of that a bit more. So this is scratching that itch from all these players, you know, the MMO, RPG based, or just role players. So I mean, how is Pax Day scratching those itches? How is it able to do it with the limited resources it currently has?
The main thing is bringing back community in gaming. That's one thing that I hear from a lot of people, is that more recent MMOs have lost the sense of community because it was something you could come in and you could solo essentially. But PAX, by its very design, is very, very difficult to solo. You need other people. You can solo if you're working with other people, but you can't. But really, you're not going to have fun in PAX if you're trying to go it alone. And this is not saying you need to be in a clan to have fun playing PAX, but you need to build relationships with other players, whether you're in a clan or not, in order to have fun in this game.
Yeah, I mean,
And Pax have this original aspects to makes player build all the world, including cities and all the stuff. This is a pretty original way to play. I love it.
the game is, as I said, I think you get quite a lot for your money with Pax Day in its current state. A lot of people obviously want more, and I get that, right? There is very limited stuff to do within Pax Day. So, I mean, taking that into mind, a lot of stuff has been, I was going to say promised, that's the wrong word, has been hinted at, okay? Marketplaces, trade system, animals, like either animal husbandry or the ability to have horses, you know, be able to ride around the map. I mean, what would you guys like to see? Like, going forward with Pax Day, where are your priorities? Going forward, what would you like to see first? I think they are focusing on the trade system, right? The marketplace. But what would you guys like to see?
Yeah, they have said that the marketplace will be one of the very early patches that they do with the early access build, and I do think that that is very, very necessary.
Yep.
In general, I want to see the social system enhanced, so I'm really looking forward to the parish system and the feudal system that they are saying is going to be implemented during early access. Because I think that's going to really expand the social side of the game, because yeah, a lot of people have a little difficulty coming up with their own social structure within a sandbox game. And so having those systems in place to encourage these social structures will do a lot to building that social community within the game. Although, I mean, we seem to not have any problem creating social content within, you know, within our clan and also across clan. We had one of our players killed by another clan yesterday, and so we have now declared war on that clan.
Well, in Pax Day.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even know that was a proper thing. So obviously all your stuff was taken, and that's roleplay, right? That's the opportunity, that one tiny little act.
Yes, and so yeah, we had one of our players mining in Lioness yesterday, and another clan, you know, came out of the mist and killed them.
Wow.
And so yeah, as a clan, we have a policy that we leave single miners alone in Lioness, because we just don't think it's fair to have it's not fair, it's not sportsmanlike to have a group of us going through and targeting single miners. And what's the fun in that, really?
Yeah.
And but if you kill one of our miners, then all bets are off.
Yeah. Exactly. War. Yeah, I've got Raiden in chat saying war, like in capitals, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, and obviously I'll pitch this. This is literally from Raiden in chat. So caravans for trading, you have to defend, and other players or other guilds can attack and rob you. How do you guys feel about that coming? Obviously, in the grand process, I mean, is that something you'd like to see, or trade being like one of those systems, like using Final Fantasy 14, where it's a trade system where you go out to a box, you put your item in for trade, and then somebody goes up to their box somewhere else in the world and they then pay a price or trade I mean, how do you want that trade to be? Is it fair to have it as a full role play with horse and cart and stuff, or are we losing something if it was just literally going up to a market stall? I mean, what's your views on that?
So I'm fine with market stalls as long as they're very localized.
Right.
So I don't think that market stalls should be available across the world. I think that you should have to travel to the point of the market to be able to set up your market stall and sell your wares. And that's where the caravans come in. Is I don't think we'll see those for quite a while in game
Yeah.
development. I don't think we'll see those at 1.0, but I could see them as something that would be kind of a down the road thing later, where so sure we'll have smaller caravans within provinces, and I don't think that those should be able to be attacked unless the players have opted into the feudal system as part of PvP. But we do know that there are additional provinces coming, not just additional provinces, additional regions coming, and we know that there will be 3 other Heartland regions, similar to the one that we have now, which is Gallia.
Mm-hmm.
But in between those Heartland regions will be wilder areas. And so I think that those are probably going to be comparable to Nullsec and Eve,
Mm-hmm.
where it's going to be pretty lawless. And I do think there will be a lot of elements of danger there. And being able to transport valuable things from one region to another will have to go through those wilder regions. And so that could definitely lead to some interesting role play, some interesting rivalries, caravans being raided, etc.
Cool. I mean, I've got Itchy in chat saying risky to have it localized. The concept is very good. However, it would only work if the population is evenly spread. How do you feel?
Well, I think part of the game design will help with that because you have a limited number of plots that can go into home valleys. And as they expand the world, they're going to expand the population in each world. And so...
Yeah, that kind of makes it a little bit easier for that.
Right. So they are going to keep populating worlds as they add players. Rather than creating a new world with new players, they're going to add new players into existing worlds.
Under the provinces and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And so if they add another region, and so currently we have one region. If they add a second region, then they will double the population of that world because they will have the room for twice as many plots. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm following along with that. That makes sense. Okay, so the next, obviously, we've discussed, as you said yesterday, we had, as you said just a minute ago, yesterday we had a player attacked. Combat. Now, I know this is a hot topic for Pax Day. Combat it's not great. I mean, I found it okay, but combat isn't great. I mean, what would you like to see from combat? Because they are saying they are fixing combat. What's fixing? What's fixing for you?
So I am far from a first-person shooter type player.
Yeah, I'm with you with that.
I do tend to prefer more strategic combat, but I do like action combat. And even for me, even though I don't want super sensitive combat, I definitely think we need a few more options when it comes to the different things we're able to do, and the animation, while it's improved somewhat from previous iterations, still needs significant improvement. And I know that the developers know this and that they are working hard to improve combat.
Exactly. I mean, we've got Han Rogue in chat who said the combat in Conan Exiles is much worse. So I've long time since I played Conan. So, I mean, if that's true, I mean, are we really... I mean, obviously, the Pax Dei have said they're going to fix combat, but how much does it need fixing? I mean, does it just need tweaking? Is it a full overhaul? Let's change everything. Because obviously, like, crossbows and sledgehammers, they aren't even in the game yet. You can see the skill, but you can't physically make the items. So, what are we expecting to see in regards to improvements to combat when there are games like Conan Exiles and Ark? I mean, I'll use Ark as an example as well, where the combat isn't great. There is no real combat.
Well, one thing that they have hinted at is that they're going to add additional skills to the things that you're wearing. They have said that, for instance, dodge roll, which is something that a lot of people have asked for, they have said that that's not going to be an ability that's available across the board, but it might in the future be tied to certain items. So perhaps if you have a light build, for instance, you might be able to dodge roll, versus if you're in plate armor, you wouldn't. That's just an example, and that's just a speculation.
And that makes sense. I mean, as you said, from a Dungeons and Dragons perspective, that makes sense. That's
Right.
you've got light armor, you could dodge better. It's for your dexterous characters. You've got heavy armor. It's for your strength-based characters. So that does make a lot of sense.
But yes, because pretty much all abilities are gear-based.
Yeah.
So I think from what they've indicated, using the current, back-end system that they have, we will see more abilities in the future, but they're not going to be available across the board. So
No.
you're not going to have every character able to dodge roll. You're not going to have every character able to do everything. But I think we will see more abilities coming, more options, and they definitely know that they need to improve some of the animations.
Yeah, the animations are sloppy.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier on in stream, literally, there was a deer. I shot the deer 4 times. All 4 arrows hit it. I know that they hit it, but it missed. It went straight through. I had to run towards the deer with my bow out and just kind of loose the shot just to try to get it. I was like, because I need the food. So yeah, there are animations that aren't great. I mean, obviously, I've not used much in the way of physical. I have tried to use a shield and a mace. I thought I'd take on this, the wolf that came up to me. I thought easy, and the wolf messed me up just because of the animation. I wasn't.
Right.
I blocked when it came up to do its bite attack, and then I hit it in the gap between. But I was still taking damage. I wasn't blocking it at all, just because, as you say, as the animation is not great. I mean, I've seen other streamers, other content creators that are basically doing PvP battles, right? They're going into
Right.
it's not PvP, sorry, PvE battles.
Battles,
Yeah, and they're going into these places to get all these mobs. And it is literally taking 6 players to almost pile on top of one enemy just to get this continuous stun lock on them. One person's hitting them with a shield, they're waiting for the cooldown, another person's hitting them with a shield, they're waiting for that cooldown to obviously finish. So basically this one mob is stuck in a continuous CC chain and not able to
Right.
move, and that's the only way that people are able to progress with these mobs, right? So is that...
That's a helpful way on some of the stronger mobs. For your Inquisitors and some of the other ones, you can do it strategically just by pulling one mob at a time and being able to hit them. It just kind of depends on which mob you're talking about, because some are fairly easy. I mean, I know that there are players out there who could solo pretty much any of the mobs out there. Now, these are friends and family players who've been playing since, for a very long time, longer than most of us have had the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
But it does take a very skilled player. So there's a lot more skill to it than people realize.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that I'm seeing more and more often. It does, okay, yeah, the combat is limited, but we are seeing that the more skilled you are at the combat, if you actually go into it and you actually use it, it will pay off. You will see more from combat the more combat you actually put yourself in, and you will get used to those timings. I mean, okay, the animations aren't great, but as long as you get used to it, it's not too bad. But we're hoping for these fixes. We're hoping for more content from Pax Dei, so it makes combat better, right?
Right.
And then going into combat, so one thing I was thinking about last night, I couldn't sleep as well. I was watching content on YouTube, and I couldn't sleep because all I kept thinking about was this promise of war, right, within Pax Dei. Now, in my head, right, I'm picturing Minas Tirith, right? Is that achievable?
Not in the current build, but I think that it will be something they're looking at for the feudal system, because they have said that, well, initially, one of the structures they've said is that you will have the altars, which will be part of the parish gameplay, and the altars will produce grace, which can be used to anoint knights, and then the knights can recruit soldiers to themselves, and then the knights can select one of their own to be a baron. Then the baron will be able to build castles in PvP areas.
Okay.
And so at that point, once we get that system, that's when you are going to see the Minas Tiriths, where you are going to see strongholds in PvP areas where that other clans can try to assault and capture.
So, I mean, I'm seeing this like, well, I'm trying to see how this is going to work. So I'm seeing it from the Arc perspective, because there's two perspectives I can see. Okay, with this kind of, as I said, this ministerial, huge battle with catapults and just volleys of arrows and soldiers running through. I think if you do an attack, that has to be done with players, right? You can't attack with NPCs. However, when it comes to defending a base, because you could get attacked any time, is that something that you have to have players for, like in Ark? Like, if you're not online and someone raids you, that's it. You wake up, your base is destroyed. You've got no warning, you've got nothing. But you can put, I mean, obviously, again, in Ark, there are turrets, you've got dinosaurs, you've got an NPC as such there to attack while you're not there.
I hear someone is following us, Rob.
Thank you very much for the
Should
follow,
I turn
by the
them
way.
to stone?
Yeah, you've got this defendable point because you have this NPC
I
base.
hear someone is following us,
How
Rob.
can you?
Should I turn them to stone?
How would you be able to do that? Or would you not? Would you have it literally, it's only player versus player in wars, or a defendable place would have NPCs? Or, I mean, how do you see that? Like, you could put an NPC on a catapult or a ballista, or, it got volleys of flame arrows, or would you just not? Would you get rid of the NPC system altogether and just have it player versus player only?
From what I know of the developer's vision, or Fortescue, do you want to answer what you see, or?
Yeah, well, I want to input,
Thanks
like
for the follow, guys, by the way.
NPCs within Pax Dei basically is a non-option. There will be no human NPCs or any of that nature within the game. Everything is sandbox. So what Kana also mentioned is what makes Pax Dei unique is that it's completely player-driven. So elements in combat that somehow involve NPCs fighting along your side and doing stuff, that will not something that will be in Pax Dei. So that being said, looking at those mechanics, I'm looking at team play, people having to get really involved in doing tasks to complete wars and stuff like that. There will be no NPCs whatsoever in the game.
I mean, I like that idea. I
Yes.
do.
Yes.
But is that going to kill the solo player?
No, because the way that these are going to be structured is these are not going to be within clans. These are going to be PvP groups that cross clans to start with.
Right.
So you will have the barons that have recruited their knights, and these knights may come from many different clans. And so your clan builds are going to be safe. This is something the developers have promised us. Your clan builds are going to be safe in your home valleys, in your plot. That's sacrosanct. What we're talking about is these are going to be fortresses that are built out in the wildlands, away from the home valleys, and so it's going to be part of that system, I think, for the Baron and the Knights to be able to organize people so they have that 24/7 coverage. Because if they slack off on it, then somebody else can take the fortress.
Yeah.
Because we do know from what the developers have said is we create the content. There are no friendly NPCs, no quest giver NPCs, and I doubt we're going to have NPCs to help man the walls. It's going to be the responsibility of that Baron and those Knights to have people manning those walls at all times. And again, as we're saying, this is not on the scale of a clan. This could very much be on a much larger scale where you have people who are dedicated to PvP who have joined these groups outside of their clan in order to be able to participate in these activities.
So then we come into alliances and things like that, right?
Yes, we'd be coming into alliances.
Cool.
Very much so.
So I think that's that, and just hearing that. I mean, I've done a bit of research into Pax Dei. I didn't actually know that the possibility of having these outposts in the wildlands. I didn't even know that was a thing. So to have that excites me. And as we discussed at the beginning, where you've got that $40 price tag on this game, if that's promised or that's hopefully in the pipeline, that makes me feel like okay, that's gone to the right place. That $40 is well worth the investment for all players, because you have that investment of eventually we're going to have all this. So I think that's phenomenal.
This is something that is in the roadmap for EA. So it's something we're going to see sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that works. And I think having the ability to get to a certain point where you are able to, as you say, anoint these knights, you only do that when you are ready for PvP, right? So if you,
Correct. Yes.
yeah, if you just want to, PvE and you want to base build and you just want to sit there and kind of, just concentrate on the game, right? Just play the game in its bare bones. You could do that without having to risk anything. But then, as you say, like our clan, okay, we get to a stage where we go, we're succeeding. We've everyone's doing their jobs. We've got enough numbers now where we can take a plot and defend a plot successfully. So that's kind of what we're talking about. You choose to go into a PvP state where you have an outpost that you are almost in a way saying, come and get us. We're wanting
Right.
that PvP, and you're obviously wanting PvP because you're in the same kind of aspect. You're at that level where we're both choosing to opt in for PvP.
Yes, and that's the system that the developers have said is coming, where if you want to PvP, you join, you either become a knight or you join as a soldier, as a pledged soldier to a knight, and so that will flag you for PvP outside of Lioness, where everything is PvP. And
Yeah.
I kind of suspect we will see more areas like Lioness in the future where everything is PvP, but by and large, the majority of PvP that we will see is going to be this opt-in PvP through the feudal system.
Got ya. Cool. No, I think that's exciting. I think all of that is very exciting. I think the roadmap that they've released, it is exciting to see what is going to come. And that's the other thing for the founders, right? Anyone that's been given a key, anyone that's bought in for the founders pack, whether it's be the $40, the $60, or $100, we are on a journey, okay? Because we've started at day one with the bare bones that they've given us, and we get to see that grow. Every single time you log in, every week or every couple of weeks, the game's going to change slightly. The game's going to get better slightly. So we get to see that expand, and then obviously in a year's time, hopefully in a year's time, when they go, yep, we're releasing the game as a full game, they then drop that game. It's still, at that point, it's still going to be a brand new game, because they're going to be testing stuff in the background. We're going to come out with a brand new game. So,
Yes.
no, go on, sorry.
I do think that at full release we will have all the core systems, including the feudal system and the parish system. But I think we're still only going to see a fraction of what the game is going to be, because I think we're still just going to see Gallia, which is the first of the regions. So I think over the next probably 10 plus years, we're going to probably see a new region introduced, maybe on a yearly basis. I don't know how frequently they'll introduce them. But I think we have a lot of expansions to come even after the game goes to live.
So, I mean, with that being said, so with the $40 that you get, buying the game on launch, right, or now, I'm not telling people to do so, but buying the game on launch, you get continuous content until the game is released, right, because we're going to see new stuff constantly popping up. You get the sandbox MMO, you get the building aspect, you get to get used to the combat, trial the combat out, try the different skills out. And then every month or so, we're going to get new content up until the game is released, when the game is going to come out as a totally new game almost. I did watch a video yesterday where they said that farming, for example, which for me as a player, obviously where I am, obviously playing with Hamish, I could really do with a rye farm, right? Rye is,
Yep.
I cannot. I mean, literally, I spent 3 hours earlier trying to get rye. I got 290, and then someone gave me another 200, which was fantastic. But to be able to plant a plot with some rye in there and gather that every 24 hours, for example, that would be huge. But I don't think we're going to get that. And this streamer, which I will link below, basically said that we're probably not going to get animal husbandry and farming until launch, because that's quite easy to implement and it doesn't change the game. They need to test things between now and launch, like horses, like carriages, like marketplace, like currency, like combat.
Right. I mean, I think that we will probably get it before launch, but probably not much before launch would be my guess on that. They did say that farming is going to come before fishing.
Oh, okay, cool. Right, and I mean, fishing. So that's obviously something they teased in their video, fishing, which, I mean, I can see the need for fishing, and obviously when it comes into to fishing, you also get the animal husbandry again, which I keep bringing up because it's a reliable source of meat, right? Or wool, or
Right.
bones, horns, things like that. Okay, that's obviously the reason why we did it. So fishing then becomes quite important because in some, obviously we're quite obviously westernized, where animal husbandry is quite huge, whereas obviously part of the east, part of the the middle of Middle East, and they rely so heavily on fish that the idea to have, as you say, fishing later than
Yes.
animal husbandry can seem a little bit strange. But does Pax Dei? Because I mean, you look at the maps, there isn't a whole lot of water, and there are areas of water that are really quite narrow. So we've got boats and fishing potentially coming together. Is that something that is necessarily needed earlier on, or is it kind of something fishing is one of those things where they can go, let's put this on the back burner, that can wait.
So yeah, it is one of those things that is on the back burner, and part of it is fishing is not particularly easy to develop, from my understanding, compared to farming. Farming is much easier to develop. Fishing has quite a few more mechanics involved, and so I think that's part of the reason why we're going to see it later. And yes, you're correct. Currently, we do have some rivers and lakes, but we don't have any really large bodies of water in the maps. I think that's going to change, perhaps, with some of the expansions coming in the future. And I think that they probably will implement some kind of a maritime, maybe a maritime province, potentially, or a maritime region.
Ooh.
But I think that is probably years down the road when we're talking about development.
Yeah, I mean, then that would be good. Obviously, being able to claim 2 regions, having your landlocked region, like such as us. I mean, I'm trying to think of a map off the top of my head, but do the rivers all connect to the outskirts of the map, or are they localized? Because being able to get in a boat and then travel to, as you say, a map that's potentially an entire coastline, and then we've got a small portion of the map, and then around the outside we actually realise we're actually on an island. Because Viking longboats are becoming a thing. They've said that Viking longboats are going to be a thing. Will that come into the horses? So the horse will have an inventory that you could put stuff in. You could put carts on it, and you could put inventory onto. You get more inventory space. Are longboats? Do you think we'll see? And it's obviously is speculation. We have no idea. But do you think things such as longboats will just transport people? Or do you think we will see transport boats which actually have an inventory space, or would it be a blank boat that you can then build storage space on top of?
So this is something where I'm going to be hesitant to speculate because
it's speculation. We have no idea, right?
Yes, it is complete speculation, and so I'm not going to speculate how they will implement boats. I do think that at some point in the future we will see them, but how they will implement them, I don't even want to even try to speculate.
Okay, so let me pitch it another way. What would you like to see? And I will ask all of you individually. What would you, in regards to boats specifically, and I guess it does fall into the horse and cart kind of type of situation. How would you like to see that? Do you build it with a specific craft in mind? So it is either a transport or has its own inventory, or would you like a blank cart or boat that then you build on to choose what job that cart or boat takes?
Personally, for me, I'd prefer kind of a maybe a very open design option where maybe you get a base boat, and then
I fear someone is following us,
build
Rob.
on that base
Should I
boat
turn them to
as you
stone?
would a building on land, where you can use different building materials to create what you want.
And then that's another craft, right?
That would be another craft, yes.
And then that opens up lots of other different crafts, because if you can build boats, you have obviously a boat maker, and then you have a cart maker, a wheel. I don't even know. I'm trying to think of the word. It's completely escaping me. But you would have different crafts. So someone like a carpenter, would he go into the carpentry side, or would it be a specific craft all of its own, like boats and carts?
Based on what we
by the way.
have currently, we have different jobs require carpentry, require blacksmith, but they are sort in these different jobs. I'm not sure we're gonna have a specific job for boat crafting, but it will be a thing for me to have the ability to to customize a lot our boats like everything else in the game, like houses, like shops, like like the whole game.
So
Yes.
that's kind of, it's part and parcel of Pax Dei, right? Being able to just build what you want. They would have to obviously add their own different props or construction stuff, right? But that's essentially what we want from Pax Dei, right?
Right. And so one of my biggest criticisms of the boat system in Valheim is the fact that you absolutely cannot customize those boats at all. You can't even add a light to the front. There's not even a hook for a light. And so if and when PAX implements boats in the future, I would rather a boat basically be different sized hulls that you could then build onto and create whatever kind of boat you wanted on top of that hull.
Got you. I agree with that. I personally would like to see a base boat and then you build off of that. And I think that would be the way forward. And so, change the subject. I will get back. I will get onto the clan in a bit. I'm trying to devote the time 50-50. But yeah, so talking about items. So like the boats come into it where it is a functional boat that you can customize. Do you think it's an oversight that some of the things that we have in the game currently don't work? So my example for that is everyone can craft a stool or a chair, yet not a single person can sit on one.
I don't think it's an oversight so much as just a piece of development that hasn't happened yet.
Right. I mean that could be said for a lot of things like tables and chairs, and obviously hopefully when it comes to carts and boats and that kind of thing, they will fix all that in one go, because if you can't sit on a chair, you shouldn't be able to sit on a horse, right? Or sit on a boat, or it's the same kind of thing, right? I mean that's my kind of
yes, absolutely, yes.
Because you could, beds as well. Obviously, people have said you could build beds. You can't lay on the bed. And
Right.
will beds be used as a spawn point? Because at the moment, you can teleport back to your home shrine, right?
No, okay. Currently, the only teleport is to the shrine in the home valley, the first one that you spawned in on. So that's the only teleport that's currently available in the game.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're meaning, yes.
Yeah. So obviously, I've been running out. Obviously, our home shrine's quite close to where we built. So I've been running out, gathering a load of materials, and I only found this out. I think it was day 6 of me playing, and I think it was Nox went to me. You do realise you could just teleport back, and I was like, dude, I've just ran 20 minutes. I've just been running for 20 minutes. He's like, no, seriously, you can just teleport. And I was like, cool. Teleported back, took my inventory, and then it was brilliant, right? That was really, really cool. So with beds, do you want to see beds as like a way to teleport back to home, or as a spawn point, or just a place where you can log out? I think Raiden actually said to me in chat yesterday that he would like to see beds. It may have been Raiden, may have been Carl. They would like to see beds that when you log out in a bed, when you wake up, you receive a boost similar to what you do currently with food and drink, where you would feel refreshed, right? Where you would have maybe a bit more stamina and a bit more health because you slept in a bed that night. You've logged out for minimum. There'd be a time frame, like an hour, so that you have a small buff.
System.
Sorry.
So rested XP system.
Yeah. So like a restful night's sleep, that you wake up, you feel rejuvenated, you have some health, small health benefit. It may last longer than food and stamina, because then it stops those people having a sleep before a battle, right? Eating 2 different types of food, 1 different drink, putting a spell on, and then going into battle. You sleep for 1 hour, and that then gives you maybe 4 hours of this restful night's sleep. I mean,
I know they have said that they do want to implement some comfort features to the buildings in the future. Yeah, they use Valheim as a comparable to some of the mechanics in Valheim for comfort, but they have not elaborated beyond that on how they hope to accomplish that.
Right. So hopefully the beds, as I said, that's what I would like to see. It's one of the things that I saw, as you say, with comfort, chairs, being able to sit down in a chair for a while, that may increase your health, your stamina, something like that. But then you've got the mechanics of when you go into battle, where you're going to run to battle, quickly pop down a chair in your plot, sit down for 5 seconds, jump up, and then continue fighting, right? Quickly sheathe your sword and then continue going. But yeah, no, I think so. Overall, okay, so each one of you, overall, how happy are you with the game in its current state? If you had to rate it out, let's say out of 10, right? If you had to rate it out of 10, or how, if you can explain more into that, how happy are you with the game in its current state? So, Shalimar, I'll choose you first.
Okay. So in its current state, I don't really want to give it a number rating
No.
because it is so incomplete. But I am very happy with the mechanics that we have and being the community mechanics that we have and being able to build the community. And so it's something that I could definitely spend a lot of time playing, and I've barely scratched the surface of what's possible, even with the very limited content that we have.
Cool. No, I agree with that. Cool.
Yeah, with all of us combined, there's still a bunch of materials that we haven't even seen yet.
And skills.
And skills, yeah, there's still probably like multiple like construction materials, like walls and stuff that we haven't unlocked yet because we haven't reached that level.
No,
And
exactly.
to be honest, this build of the game, I think it's very stable for an early access. Like I've played way worse, and the norm now is way worse than this standard. So I'm very happy about what they did.
No worries. No, I appreciate that. Thanks for dropping in, by the way, Martin.
Oh, of course.
So, Jack, how happy are you with the game in its current state?
I'm fairly happy. I seem to find myself most of the time trying to play it rather than anything else I have.
Cool.
I also know a lot of people that are doing the same.
So,
I feel that I've wisely wasted my money.
Again, this is something we were discussing in the stream again yesterday. It's your time has a value, and that's dependent on you, right? You know, if you go to work, you get an hourly rate, and that's your time is equal to a certain amount. This game's as we said, $40. That's less than a day's work for most people. And the amount of game that you're getting, the amount of time you're putting into that game, if you spent 40 hours in the game, that's $1 an hour. If you're enjoying those 40 hours, money well spent. I think. So.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So so Kana, how satisfied are you at this current state?
Yeah, for me, the game is really, really good for now, and I'm really happy to buy it. But to make me really, really happier, the best thing would be to add permission system on chests, because it's a really hard issue. But yeah, for now the game is really, really good, and it have a lot of features I would be happy to see before learning about Pax Dei.
Cool. I'm with that. So last of all, Lord Fortes, who's jumped in here? I've got a wizard and
it's me who jumped in. Am I welcome, or is this a private sort of?
Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome to join. If you want to ask a question, obviously, you're more than welcome to also jump in here, or you can jump over to the Twitch channel and ask a question, and then I'll read it out to the guys. But it's up to you. Obviously, this is you're currently live on Twitch, but this will be going on YouTube as well. So it's up to you.
I'm going to keep quiet.
Okay, so you asked for a number, and I would give it a 7 out of 10, which is good. And the 7 is mainly based out of the stability of the game, which has been mentioned before, how the game looks, the mechanics that are present. What Kana mentioned is very important, and then I'm talking about a more defined permission system. If they don't implement that soon, I don't know how the game is going to further develop. I think it's straining the community somewhat, so I hope that they'll implement something like that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm with you. So there's something actually I want to on the back end of what you've just said. There's two things I want to say. Like, the game is beautiful, right? When you're running around the game is like, you do spend a lot of time looking down while you're trying to pick stuff up, right? And you want to like kind of you're crafting this and you're doing. Every now and again, I kind of sit back and I go, oh shit, this game's really good. Like, it looks so good. You're standing on a cliff looking down, you go, fuck, I can see the entire valley. Like, this is a beautiful game. Like, obviously it's Unreal Engine, which is huge. Go on, sorry.
Last weekend we were heading out on an expedition, and one of our players stopped and we were asking, are you okay? And he said, we're just looking at the stars. They're shooting stars.
It's beautiful, right? It's odd that something so small could just, as you say, it completely captures you in game. It's phenomenal. It is really, really good. And also, yeah, so the other thing you said about the permissions, right? Now, earlier on in game, I had an issue where I had all the grapes, and I was like, I need to make the base for red wine. So I needed water. I had loads of grapes. I just needed water, and I've only got the one well because obviously aesthetics. I only want the one well. So I thought I will run through town, and I know there's wells everywhere, right? So I ran through our town, and I went to every well, all the way up to IKEA, and only one of them was accessible, right? Now, obviously, people have their clan permissions, so people don't just kind of walk into their house and take their stuff. I get that, right? But I would like the option, like you can with chests, to have some crafting stations unlocked, right? Or have the ability to unlock or lock, right? So, as I said, I understand some people want to lock certain things, but have the ability to unlock other things. Because a well, for example, all I could do with your well is remove water, and if that's such an issue, you can fill it up again in 2 minutes, right? So being able to lock and unlock certain things, like you don't want people touching this, but they're free to, don't want to use the furnace, but you're free to use the crafting stations. Like, that's the kind of accessibility I would like.
Right, and that's something that, unfortunately, unlike chests, we can set the permissions on.
Yeah.
We cannot set the permissions on crafting stations. We can only set the permissions on the plot that they are on. And so, now any bench, so if you go up to any bench, it doesn't matter if it's on a private plot or a clan plot. You can use any bench, but it's any crafting station that has inventory that is going to have the same permissions as the plot permissions.
Yeah, like the loom, the tanning rack, those kind of things.
As I said, even the well.
The well even.
Yeah, the well as well,
yeah. The well, that was the one that got me the most, because you can't craft anything in the well. All you could do is make water, and beehives as well, I guess. All you could do is make honey and beeswax, but there still is that option where you could potentially make a load of beeswax, and then someone goes to use it, and they go, I now can't make the honey that I need because I need to wait 2 hours for the honey to finish. But the well, for example, I was a bit like, I cannot. Luckily, Raiden had their plot open. That's why I was able to actually, the only well that I was able to access all the way up to IKEA. Like, obviously, we've got IKEA on the hill, and I was like, I must have hit, what, 7 wells? And only one of them had, access. So, I mean, that was a bit of a pain. So, Kusha, but can't public things get destroyed by anyone? Public can, clan cannot. So I could. So if you're in a clan and you've got your permission set to clan, I could destroy stuff as part of that clan, but other people can't. Public people can't. Public, yes, they could. So they could access chests. But when we were as a clan, I mean, hopefully, I should just be able to use, not your plot. I won't go through your stuff because your boxes are locked, but I should be able to go into, for example, your well, or if I want to just craft something, it comes into it. But that's why I want that on-off switch, right? The permissions we have on boxes, I kind of want those permissions also for the ability to craft things. How did the clan start originally?
So how the clan started was, I had actually had an issue in a previous clan where I had been trying to do some internal reforms, and those were not appreciated. And so I ended up getting booted because I guess the clan leader saw me as a threat rather than somebody who was trying to help, which is what I was. And I had some offers to join other clans, to even be in leadership in other clans, but I had this vision of a clan where people who didn't fit with other clans could work together and form a community and be able to play as a community, even if they maybe didn't fit the mold that other clans were looking for. And so Luminari was born from that idea of a clan where everyone can have a place as long as they're willing to abide by the clan ethos.
I think that's really evident in the clan. You can see that. It's just, everyone from every walk of life coming together to actually help each other out. And it has been. And obviously we've got various people from across the world all helping each other out, and I think that's really, really good. Okay,
so my vision was to be able to bring people from many different backgrounds together and be able to play off everybody's strengths, rather than saying you have to conform to one particular kind of gameplay, but find what are everybody's strengths and bring them together into a cohesive team.
Cool. Okay, so my last question: what's the future? What's the future for Luminari? Where do you see us on PAX Day?
So where I see us, I mean, in some ways, I see us almost more as a movement than a normal clan, where I could see us in the long run having branches around the world where, you know, people who catch the vision for having this kind of a community could be a part of us, but maybe we have different communities that are throughout our world, or maybe even at some point spread to other shards, with the idea that we want to provide this kind of space for people.
So that'd be wicked. If we can get something like that, that would be phenomenal. I would like that. And obviously we're building up at an alarming rate as well. I've walked past other people's bases. They have got, obviously everyone's got a plot, but I logged out and then I came back the next day and I was like, oh my god, okay, there's buildings everywhere, right? It's just popped out of nowhere, which is the progress is great.
It's just amazing every time I log in, just to see what's changed and how many new builds have popped up and how builds have grown, and it's just beautiful to watch.
It really is.
It kind of reminds me of the movie Lucy, when she's in the New York to Times Square, and she goes back in time, and like everything, like she goes back to like the 1900s and then 1800s, 1700s, and sees like everything like builds down or like gets this, you know.
Thank you, every single one of you, for joining into this, and obviously answering any of the questions. I appreciate every single one of you for putting your time into this, and obviously everyone that's joined in via Twitch to have their say, have their input. There's loads of comments were coming up. I'm not able to read them all and get through it all. But thank you ever so much for everyone, and I will let you get on with the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Rob.
No worries. Catch you guys soon. So there you have it. From players, people that are obviously running my clan. I'm a part of the Luminari. Is the game worth it? We think so. The players seem to really enjoy it. I enjoy it. There's a lot of room for role playing. You get a lot for your money, and there's more to come. There's so much more to come. So hopefully that's helped you. If you're on the fence about buying it, I'm aware it's a very long video, and if you stuck to it, well done, and I appreciate it. But yeah, if you're on the fence, that should have answered some of your questions. And if you're playing the game, if you've got a different opinion or you've got a different view, by all means, chuck it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, thanks for your time. That's gonna be me logging off. Catch you guys later. Peace.